Hi guys, my name's Bex and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing to you the mid-year book freakout. It is that time again, guys. It is mid-year book freakout time, and I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite videos every year where I get to tell you guys how I'm going with my reading this year, and basically we've got a whole set of prompts to go through and tell you what I have been reading. If you did not know, the mid-year book freakout tag was created by Chammy and Ellie, and I'll leave both their channels linked down below so you can go check them out. I think this is my third year in a row doing this tag, and I love doing it because it gets to show you guys what I'm reading and just going through that. But let's just quickly start with how I'm going towards my Goodreads goal. So I have currently read 35 books in 2019 so far, which is really good. I am 6 books ahead on the way to my Goodreads goal, so that is amazing. And let's just dive straight into the mid-year book freakout tag, and let's get into the prompts. The first prompt is the best book that you have read in 2019, and for me that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Now this story follows a guy named Kavoth who has kind of had a really tough upbringing. His family were killed, he was an orphan, and this is him kind of as he's older telling his story to a chronicler. Now Kavoth is someone that everybody either loves or wants to kill. He's a really interesting character, and I loved reading about him in The Name of the Wind. The Name of the Wind is beautifully written. It is by far my favorite book of this year, and I don't know why it took so long to get to this one. G from Book Roast has been telling me for ages to read it, and I finally got to it, and it definitely did not disappoint. Which is really good because this book is a chunker, and I read it in a readathon, and I don't know what I was thinking, but highly recommend. If you like high fantasy, this is for you. If you like a story that is fast-paced in points, but it kind of builds, the story really grows and the character really grows, and I just really loved it. Number 2 is the best sequel you've read in 2019, and for that one I have picked The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This is the second book in the Winter Night trilogy, and it follows a girl named Vasya, and I can't really tell you about this book, but in the first book, The Bear and the Nightingale, she is kind of a girl, as she's grown up, she has always been able to see like spirits and sprites. She lives in a town that's relatively going Catholic, and a Catholic priest comes in, and a lot goes on. It's based on Russian folklore, and I really love that aspect. I really liked the setting, I really loved the atmosphere. The Bear and the Nightingale was a really slow read, and it was slow to draw you in, whereas this one captured me from the first bit, and it was probably because I'd read The Bear and the Nightingale so quickly before, but this one was just phenomenal. The characters are really good. I loved where the story went in this one. It's a little bit different to The Bear and the Nightingale. We have kind of gone into more of the city aspect, and there's a lot going on. Vasya's kind of trying to run away from what she is. She doesn't want to be a proper lady that just kind of stays in the house and cooks for her husband, or she doesn't want to go to the convent and be one of the nuns either. So this is her kind of pushing the boundaries of what women were in this age, and I adored it. Number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to, and for that one I have chosen Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is their new book, and I'm so excited to get to this one. I haven't got to it yet, clearly. Basically about a mismatched squad. So it says on the back, the alpha, the diplomat, the scientist, the gearhead, the warrior, the pilot, and the mystery girl. So really excited about this one. I don't really want to go too much into it. I know that it is another sci-fi, and it's Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and I love their writing apart as well as together. Number 4 is most anticipated release of the back half of the year, and for me this is Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff. We have been waiting for so long for Dark Dawn, and I'm so excited to finally grab it this year. Dark Dawn is the 3rd book in the Nevernight trilogy, and it is about a girl named Mia Corvia who goes to a school for assassins basically to seek vengeance for her family falling apart and her family being murdered, and I am so ready for this one. Jay Kristoff has a wonderful way of writing which is either up your alley or not up your alley. Like it's a really different writing style, but I love it. I love his characters, and I love that the Nevernight series is really dark and brutal. I just don't know where it's going, and I really need to know. Jay Kristoff has a way of like playing to your mind where like you think something's gonna happen and it doesn't, and it goes in a completely different way, and I'm so ready for Dark Dawn. Number 5 is biggest disappointment in 2019. So far, my biggest disappointment is Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. This is a book that I received from my beautiful friend Spence from Come and Spence, and I adore him for sending this my way. Oh, but I didn't like it. I got about 94 pages through this one, and I just couldn't do it anymore. The characters we were following were really whiny and really annoying, and I was reading an audiobook and I thought that would make it easier. It didn't. I am keeping this one. to maybe revisit at another point, but at this stage, this is a disappointment, this is a DNF, and it's a no from me, basically. It follows Marion, Zoe, and Val. Marion, who is the new girl, Zoe, who is the pariah, and Val, who is the queen bee. Their stories come together on an island of Sawkill Rock, where gleaming horses graze in rolling pastures and cold waves crash against the black cliffs, where kids whisper the legend of a monster at parties and around campfires, where girls have been disappearing for decades. So yeah, the premise, amazing, but unfortunately, it just seemed a little bit whiny and bitchy for me, if I'm honest. I don't know, maybe I should give it another chance. You guys let me know. If you've read this and think I should give it another chance, you let me know. Number 6 is Biggest Surprise, and the biggest surprise for me is Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant. This is such an amazing book. This is almost my favorite book of the year, except for the fact that I was scared shitless most of the time while reading it. Into the Drowning Deep kind of follows 7 years ago where a boat went to the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest part of the ocean, and kind of did a mockumentary on mermaids, except no one came back from that. The boat was found floating, no one on it, and kind of 7 years later, this company who sent the boat out originally is sending another boat to kind of work out what happened and see, well, what were they? Was it a mermaid? It was scary, it was atmospheric, it was creepy. It made me not want to sleep at night, but it drew me in. The writing style is amazing. Myra Grant is a pen name for Shauna Maguire, so I love Shauna Maguire's writing, but this is her darker tale, and it's phenomenal. I think this is such an underrated book. If you like atmospheric thrillers, this one might be for you. It doesn't read too adult, but I would be like cautious because there's a lot of blood and gore in here, and it's a bit terrifying, so I wouldn't read it if you were too young. But this was just a perfect read for me, and I really, really loved it, and I think everyone should get on board with this one so we can get another book, so she can bless us with some creepy vibes again. Number 7 is favorite new author, debut or new to you, and for this one I'm going with Sabaa Tahir, who wrote An Ember in the Ashes. I read An Ember in the Ashes earlier in the year for the quarterly book club. I will leave our live show link down below so you can go check it out. But this is one that I really, really enjoyed. I enjoyed the setting, I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed specifically one of the characters more than the other, but I think this one has got a lot of potential, and I cannot wait to move on. So I definitely think Sabaa Tahir is going to be a new favourite author of mine, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. This story follows Elias, who is a soldier, and Leia, who is a slave, and their paths kind of intertwine as Leia's brother is taken, and she's trying to get him out, and it's a really, really interesting story, and I think it's got a lot of potential going forward. So yes, love this, can't wait to continue, and I think Sabaa Tahir is going to be a new fave. Number 8 is Newest Fictional Crush, and when I saw this one I didn't know whether I was going to be able to pick the person I wanted to, because I didn't know whether I started crushing on him like last year or this year. But I checked my Goodreads and I actually read Hunting Prince Dracula by Kerry Maniscalco this year, and this is the book where I just started to adore Thomas Cresswell. Hunting Prince Dracula is the second book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, and I absolutely adore this series. I listened to this one on audiobook and I love it so much. It's really, really interesting. I found Stalking Jack the Ripper a hard one to get into via reading physically, but then I tried the audiobook and I haven't turned back. It's just great, but the covers are amazing, so I have to get the hardcovers as well. Thomas Cresswell is the male love interest in all 3 books that are out currently, and he is witty, he is funny, he has such amazing banter with the main character, Audrey Rose. He is sarcastic, and I just love his humour, and he's got a fantastic personality written in these books, and I think he's a perfect fictional crush. So I'm going with Thomas Cresswell from this series. If you have not read the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, I highly recommend. I didn't think I'd love it, and then listening to it, yeah, I fell in love with the whole series and cannot wait to get the last one, which is Capturing the Devil, later this year. Number 9 is Newest Favourite Character, and for this one I am going with Boots from A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe by Alex White. This story follows Boots and a few other people. Boots is a kind of a washed up treasure hunter, and she's fantastic. I really loved reading about her character. I loved her character. I loved her character development. I think Boots has a lot to offer as a character, and I cannot wait to continue in this series to see where it goes. The Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe is a sci-fi novel, and it kind of is like a race against time to hunt down I guess a massive ship, and whoever holds this massive ship kind of holds the fate of the universe in their hands, and they want to get it, but people are trying to kill them all. So, and loved Boots. Her character just was really, really important to this story, and I loved her character in this story, and I cannot wait to see where her character goes in the next book. Number 10 is a book this year that made you cry, and this is a hard one because I haven't cried in many books this year, if not any. But I did shed a few tears in Autobiography by Christina Lauren. This is a contemporary novel about a guy named Tanner whose family moves from California to Utah, and in that move he kind of goes back into the closet. He is bisexual, but moving to a mainly Mormon town, he's kind of repressed that part of himself for now. That is until he goes into a writing course for his last semester at school and meets a guy named Sebastian and falls madly in love, and their story goes from there. But Sebastian is like a Mormon prodigy and like the preacher's son, and yeah, it's a whole thing. It was a hard book to read at parts. It was equally beautiful and heartbreaking, and I absolutely adored it. And I did shed a few lone tears because that's just the way I am, and it just broke me a little bit. So really, really loved this book. Really, really highly recommend this book. And that's coming from someone who doesn't read contemporary. I feel like you should take that on board. Number 11 is Book That Made You Happy, and for this one I am going with Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is volume 1 of a graphic novel series. It's really, really cool. It says on the back, boy meets boy, boy becomes friend, boys fall in love, and it's awesome. Art style's kind of really hand-drawn, but it's so like nice to read, and it's so like nice and fluffy and fun and beautiful, and I really, really enjoyed reading this one. And I think if any art style was like this in any other graphic novel, I'd be like, nah, lame. But this really, really suited the story, and I really, really can't wait to get my hands on volume 2. Number 12 is Most Beautiful Book You Bought This Year or Received, and for me, this one is going to be King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. And do I really need to say anything else? Like, sorry, let me open it up a little for you. This is obviously the most beautiful book that I own in my collection. It is gorgeous, and I can't wait to read this one. Number 13 is What Books Do You Need to Read by the End of the Year? And all of them would be a good answer, but I'm going to go with The Priory of the Orange Street by Samantha Shannon. This book is a massive one, and it's one I think that I'm going to put off for a very long time. So I'm going to give it to myself to read this one by the end of the year to hopefully give me the motivation to start it, because it's just like 800 pages long and it's a bloody big book. The House of Berethnet has ruled Innis for thousands of years. Still unwed, Queen Sabran the Ninth must conceive a daughter to protect the realm from destruction, but assassins are creeping closer to her door. Ead is an outsider at court. Though she has risen to the position of lady-in-waiting, she is loyal to the hidden society of Mages. Ead keeps a watchful eye on Sabran, secretly protecting her with forbidden magic. Across the Dark Sea, Tani has trained to be a dragon rider since she was a child, but is forced to make a choice that could see her life unravel. Meanwhile, the East and the West refuse to parley, and forces of chaos are rising from their sleep. So, really cool. Dragons, dragon riding, East and West are fighting. I just think this one's going to be an entertaining one. The last question is number 14, which is favorite book community member, and this one is hard. Last year I think I went for Spence from Common Spence, and like, still accurate, still love him. But this year I'm going to go with Ali from Hardback Hoarder, and the reason I'm going to go for Ali is because she's an incredible book community member. Not only does she have amazing content, she makes incredible thumbnails. She's teaching people how to make thumbnails. Like, she did a video on how to make a thumbnail, and that is where my thumbnails now come from, because like, I needed all the help I can get, if you know what I mean. So I'll leave Ali linked down below. I think she's funny, I think she's fantastic, and I think the book community is better with having her in it. Her videos are fun to watch and really just kind of make me feel happy watching them, and I love that she also helps people like myself. I think she is just pivotal to this community, and I adore her. But that is it from me today, guys. That is the mid-year book freakout tag, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more and have not already, and chat to me down in the comments. Let me know your favorite and least favorite book of 2019 so far. I would love to hear. But that is it from me today, guys. I make videos every Monday and Thursday, and I'll see you in a new one. Bye!